Today's shorts began with a bit of description on spirituality in human terms. So let me read to you, and then we'll also have a nice topic with stories and experiences on being yourself and that which is a 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, and loving person who ascends with the frequency of pure love, because that's what the 5D Christ consciousness frequency is. So you can only be in the embodiment of true love, pure love, when you have a non-traumatized, securely attached, self-regulating body and mind. So you know how to use your prefrontal and you have no child parts that need reparenting. So you are very peaceful, and embodying yourself mindfully in a physiological state of compassion is what you enjoy every day, with or without yoga, doesn't matter, okay? So spirituality in human terms, I give you with I'm attachment trauma informed. So I'm bringing all of those pieces of information together, plus my experience of being a whole self since I was a little kid and not losing the relationship with my higher self. And so staying non-traumatized because of sifting through my own sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts with mindsight skills. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So my introception, my body, all this stuff. And also mindfulness and mindset, the inner growth way. So neutrality and duality, being able to know, yes, God, thank you for welcoming me as I am. I am going to be flawed. I am going to be crooked. I will not, though, harbor any shame whatsoever, because I am an integrity person who got taught how those who try to do it are disrespecting me. And as an attachment trauma informed person, yes, they are all needing a therapist. Anybody who wants to point that finger, shame, blame, fault, revenge, I learned how to be in my non-reactive ventral, also because I don't play God. And so I do know how to remember God will judge them, not me. And I am crooked like them, so I will be loving, and that's unconditionally. And Jesus is the one who taught me what I'm supposed to do, because God sent him to the earth. So I know all about Holy Spirit, which is where spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, all of that, which is intuitiveness, which science also explains, doesn't disprove spirituality. It explains things so that all humans, if they want, can achieve heaven in the body. Yes, the kingdom of God is within you, and it will only be accessed by functional inner child adults. People who have taken the time to heal themselves and get securely attached or didn't lose it. And so their higher self leads the way. Your prefrontal. If you're not prefrontal material, then you're going to say, I want different than self-help. I want life now. Or you'll be a Zen master who continues to talk about laundry. So people who ruminate. Anyways, we're going to leave the 3D, 4D to their fun times. That's why we make fun of them, because seriously, it's not any bad thing. They just sound humorous to a person like me. Spirituality in human terms, so being your true self, anchored in ventral, you incarnate pure consciousness as an unconsciously loving, flawed, mystic, spiritual, and or mindful person with integrity and non-traumatized, securely attached, differentiated self. So these words means you know, again, how, yeah, I'm crooked, I'm flawed, but like Terry Real says, you self-accept, and you present a functional adult conversation as, that was Terry Real. Patrick Tian presents something different. Terry Real presents the self-acceptance. Patrick Tian presents the empowered inner child. These are two great therapists. They're online. You can find them. And the inner child empowered, not the hypervigilant, is the one that if my boss is talking to me as if I'm a little piece of shit, I'm not going to be, oh my God, and I won't feel in any way, shape, or form shamed. I will be, and they will say, oh, have you no shame? And you'll say nothing. I think I should go. Don't you? I don't really feel we're on the same page. Again, think maybe I should go. Should I repeat myself? This is the one thing a non-reactive, equanimous, neutral person, because our ground is I'm not God. I am crooked and flawed, and your manners are disrespectful because you have shame. And I'm sure that's how you were held as a child, so I really feel bad for you, but that's disrespectful too, because you don't have to go to therapy and heal yourself, like the fancy lady and man in suit point out in their bad manners as well. So their bad manners are, promiscuous women, or whore women, or let me get married after fucking women, or all these very ancient ways of talking about things that I met as a teenager, and I thought, what year is your family from? That I don't understand. Your boyfriend broke up with you because they spread a rumor that you had been with all the boys in the town, but that wasn't true. When they came back around, though, you welcomed them and said, yes, I'll be with you. But they called you a liar. And also, by the way, they left you just because you had had sex without marriage. Again, what year do you come from? Because I believe that that is from the medieval times of ignorance. And also, I would not be anywhere near that person. Again, they believed the friends didn't come talk to me and they broke up with me. So you obviously don't love me at all. Don't trust me. This is not a relationship that's going to go well, especially because closed-minded people aren't fascinating. Yeah, toxic men, don't want them. As a teenager, I didn't have the toxic men thing. I'm a woman that's a grown-up. I've repeated a lot of things before, and one of my lessons was actually not being a know-it-all when it comes to people dating those who are closed-minded. And in fact, it's the one lesson when you hear people saying karmic lessons, it's because you're going to be nudged by spirit so that you can be an open-minded human being. It was easy for me to understand because of what I was saying to my girlfriends as they kept dating idiots. And I said, okay, I know what my lesson is. And it was a short-lived one, a 1 year span. And I can say that I forget to appreciate the human being that they are. But I still remember when the download was, this is for you. And as this human being with a small ego, in fact, small ego like another man I saw on YouTube, basically did this thing. I'm going to ask you to do this. And in Italy, we have this. So they take a finger, they're going to take the whole hand. And in my head, I said, they're not going to take just the finger and the hand. They're going to take the whole arm, which means that they're going to get away with shit. And they did get away with shit. So much so that by the years done, though, as I'm getting broken up with, I'm like, yes, finally, in my head. Again, a download. But it still took me about 2 to 3 months to process the breakup. So here's how a pure piece of consciousness can let you know ego and self work hand in hand. Because yes, it was finally over. I still remember as it's happening, the breakup. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't have to do anything. Thank goodness. I was wondering when we would go and part ways. And then, though, like I said, it took about 2 to 3 months for me to actually move beyond it and to then recognize, wow, they're really an asshole. Toxic masculine asshole, which I don't like using, but they actively are to this day. In fact, it's the one person that when they talk to you about karmic relationships, I will not be seeing ever again because they actively are that type of human being. There's others, on the other hand, that will have been brought to each other. We have both been, so that we may make choice points. And that one was really heartbreaking to say the least because of knowing that there's no reason for them to be in the medieval times. But I'm going to leave that alone. So yeah, it's not Lucifer when people are using the dark sides of neuroplasticity and they armor themselves shut in shame, blame, fault, revenge cycles and in what is a toxic family system like Diego with men and women. So men being able to treat women as objects, also men being able to talk the way they talk, women too though, because these are the same. Man and woman will say, oh, polyamory, you don't love anybody, you're a whore, you're a bunch of words. I mean, I've seen women on screen doing this. Men, they're watching porn. They are now cheating on you. Like, what? Okay, 1, polyamory is consensual non-monogamy. 2, it's something personal. 3, why is everybody's just giving this blanket statement of it being good or bad when you are not in it? The good or bad of the polyamory is the funniest thing. But you're not poly enough is just as equally not securely attached people. So when you have people who don't know who they are, they use society's words, and why I find it petty. So again, toxic, I don't use it as often because I don't like it. I just know people who need therapy. That's all of them. Men, women, there's anyone who is criticizing anyone at this point, because I don't need you to be monoamory or polyamory for you to be a stand-up citizen. I need you to have integrity, and you will only have integrity if you own your sense of self, which means you own 2 sides of the brain. And until you do, I will know who you are because of how you will approach anyone who's different. Anytime you will approach any difference with a I learned how not to do that again. God taught me, so did Jesus, and I did learn that part of you don't have the capacity to choose how other people learn to embody their pure consciousness. Because this is what a person who does have access to their 1-year-old and 3-year-old will suffer. The fact that you won't stand up for your own inner child, which means you won't stand up for your own self-acceptance and know that, yeah, you are crooked. So, did you think you weren't? Excuse me, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I don't feel defective because I'm a whole 3-year-old heart. Do you feel defective and that you don't deserve to be crooked? This is a bullshit statement because you're going to be flawed. And again, if you want to talk to me about God, God will let you know. In the meantime, you can live an upstanding life by saying, I want to be kind, I'm going to love, and I won't cast stones. So anyone in a cloak using blasphemy, to me, I'm not even there. And any society that keeps using it, I'm just like, wow, societal soul age group. Have a good time continuing to learn about the self through, I know you serve a purpose, so do you, relationship soul age group. I'm not in it. Oh, I'm in the enlightenment soul age group. So yeah, there's other soul age groups. This is a way I was able to make sense of the unfortunate business of those who do not move into their empowered pure consciousness selves, which is heartbreaking, the story I was saying. So yeah, that's not something fun to watch people go and lead their life in ways that are completely unfulfilling. Another story is when I got to witness, this is even more sad, shutting yourself into what is going to be fucking, drinking, maybe drugging, and completely getting unhealthy by the minute as you grow older within 3 years' time, and thinking that you are better than others because you are on a spiritual mystic journey, which is not the only one, because that's where people who are spiritual bypassers and disregard their mental health, and then they have people who around them don't tell them, hey, look, here, intervention, you need therapy, and that's now, not tomorrow. No spirit animal guide. No active good therapist, someone who can work with your child parts and your body and your thoughts and everything, and you need to want it. If you don't, lo and behold, there's that suffering thing again. Okay, so with that, no casting of a stone, because that's what people who are healthy, self-accepting, and self-worth, we don't cast a stone. I am crooked, I am flawed, and I'm not God, and I won't play it. True self people know how to talk about this. That's what our community is going to be about, which is also why you didn't say it right. You need to say it that way. Oh my gosh. I saw that in college and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought these were smart people. So you know today, if you meet smart people, they're bilaterally, vertically, overall integrated, and they enjoy conversations, and that's because they're non-traumatized, securely attached, differentiated self grown-ups, for real and not pretend. When you meet the ones who like to just insult people, we leave it alone as they stand around with their charges. The societal soul age group has stuff to do. So does the relationship soul age group. So do every one of the people who are broken off from Purusha Prakriti. Yes, because even though they're not pure consciousness, so they're not purely unconsciously loving like the fancy lady man in suit, their contribution is essential. They carry with them information that we will always be able to use. They're living museums of the medieval times and our ancestors. And so thanks to them, even if books for one reason or another get deleted completely, we will have visual representation of that which was a time that is no longer. And I'm not joking with you right now. This is how it makes a whole buttload of sense to a person that is of the digital era, online marketer and entrepreneur, and also of the present, meaning my prefrontal. I do love sciences and technology, and I love academics. Oh, I love them so much. And so with that being said, they didn't dismantle God for me, but I do know dark matter and dark energy. And I love that the empowered, enlightened ones of spirit tell us, remember, no negative or positive, because universal intelligence, excuse me, do you think you're smarter than the actual invisible intelligence that sees over all of us? I mean, if I say God, you, again, don't cast a stone. This is very straightforward. You follow Jesus and forgive. And the ones who talk differently, again, there are times, if, on the other hand, you want to bring me in Dark matter, no, universal love intelligence. I'm a Reiki master and an Akashic record reader. Do you think you can break quantum field? Let me do it that way. It's not a problem of consciousness for spiritual people. It's only for the scientific ones who don't have faith. I have faith and I have direct relationship, and I'm not playing divinity or God. No, I'm playing Maria, who's letting you know about my stories, experiences, and more. I think we might just keep it on a roll here. Okay, great. So, content creator, mentor, podcast host for people who are actually discerning. Now, with that being said, integrity is this. It's not, how dare you? No, that actually is nothing of interest. It's a really, oh, so when you get to be yourself, you give a complete view to anyone what a true relationship between Manny, Diego, and Sid, Cusco, and Pacha look like. And I'm going to allow you all to know that every one of us has a relational field with people individually, okay? So I have a twin, and her and I have our beautiful, beautiful relational field. And that's because our 3-year-olds come up with both of us. And I got the opportunity to witness how this exchange to this day can still bring about a very specific environment due to the fact that I'm the sympathetic, meaning, and she's the more like, And so from the external, I'm domineering and she is not. And her and I know this because, again, we've been twins forever. So long story short, though, the last time this happened, I said, look, you and I have our relationship. We're cool with it. But now that we're 40 something and all these people that are around us who love us still can't handle our dynamic in a way of having fun with it, next time, let's go to a room and have our thing together so we don't have to affect everybody else's mood. And that's it, because that's how it works. Okay, so you can understand why an entire group of people will be in the middle of something that is not a dynamic that involves them. Each person will have their own idea of how this should play out, and that's because they care. Manny, Diego, Sid, Cusco, Pacha. That's how family works. And here, polyamory, we have metamors, for example. And when you have securely attached men and women in days, they don't go around being catty or mean to each other. That's because we talk about our fears very easily and openly, FYI. It's not, you're not poly enough, you have to be polyamory. No, not even remotely close. Oh, I love empowered people. They're so awesome. So, in the meantime, we do know some are trying to get rid of people who are different, but have they ever gotten rid of people who are different? No, they really haven't, because the whole point is humans evolve, and the ones who don't know how this works, they don't handle change well. So their active brain also isn't looking to the future, it's looking to the past. In the meantime, the ones who are thinking that they can stop evolution and expansion of consciousness, once again, they don't remember that intelligence, it's not the crooked ones of us. We're all sinners, we're all crooked, we're all a little speck of the same hole, which knows exactly what's happening. Hey, don't hit us, asteroid. Okay, awesome. So with that being said, how life is lived when you are your true self like this, you do not have a pause self that wears an adaptive child part mask and doesn't know healthy self-regulation and ventral. No. So the ones who are a pause self, we leave it alone. Again, we get to be our true self, securely attached, and as functional child adults, mystics, and those who are spiritual and those who are mindful, we allow ourselves to share the truth. And the truth is really individualistic, but with integrity, we also respect and accept that some won't like us. So we will try our best to not be near each other, if you will. And if we are, to address with the non-reactive equanimous tone. Relationships don't affect your healthy self-regulation because you maintain this equanimous and unconsciously loving body and mind. That's what self-regulation in a non-traumatized, securely attached body of a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person means. In the practices, I'm going to consistently know that I'm Maria, focusing my attention, it's automatic. I am able to be in complete maximum certainty because in the right mode of my brain, nothing comes up that I don't know is Maria's. And so I metabolize my emotions. And that's also because I have kind intention automatically. Thank you, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, because I'm a sinner and I'm crooked and I'm humble with no shame. And in my ventral, I stand, you're not God. That's it. You're also not my mother, but even that, my mother, as a 3-year-old, I said, you can't spank me, it's my body. Differentiated self is what you find in front of you. With God, it's you're not God, and you're actually playing God, and I will not be saying anything because I was told to mind my own business. And that is what a literal inner child who got taught, I made you the way I wanted you to be made. Don't you dare want it to be anybody else. Okay, so confidence, empowerment, acceptance, all of it is easy with ventral energy. It's here. If I instead feel weighed down by being flawed and crooked, that's why therapists are out there helping people who can learn. Let's let that defectiveness get out of your body. It ain't through praying, it's through you knowing that you are the first 3 years of your life, the fetus, the womb, and that sensory experience comes up. The tone of my voice can create, unfortunately, a trigger for someone. The representation, the conversation, anything can be a trigger to those who do not own their sense of self and their core narrative relation and soul self, and do not understand what it means that you are implicit memory the first 3 years of your life and the first 8, that your subconscious rules you, and that your mannerisms are from what you were held with and how, and that you bringing it into the room. I don't need your past adaptive child. That's your trauma time, not mine. But I will also not be addressing it to you like this, because that ain't something that I'm allowed to do, because again, you need to be aware with the accountability and trauma information. This is my trauma, and I shouldn't be bringing it into the room, because this has nothing to do with another human being, and I don't want to be this, because this isn't my higher potential. This is half of what I could be, because I'm using a left and I'm not in harmony with my right yet, and I don't have a default mode network that's down regulated. If I did, then I'd be having a good time with all pieces of information and every single human being out there. That's how restorative embodiment, discerning people work. It's, I don't care if you're insulting me. And if you get really that pissed, I'm going to say, I need to leave. I think I need to leave, because you're not doing anything except for being pissed. And the ones that don't like it, they just begin doing other stuff. And that doesn't make a difference, because I do own the choice of, I'm flawed and perfect. I only respond to one. It's called God. You are not that. You're a human like me, and you're upset. And your biological rudeness is for you to tend to, as Stephen Porges, Bezel van der Kolk, Peter Levine, Janina Fisher, and any good therapist, Patrick Tiahan, and Terry will learn to tell you again and again and again. So we don't have to make someone go to therapy. There's enough of the therapists online, and there's enough of the people who don't even bother noticing that they are charges of themselves. The 5D collective, we own our sense of self and all our child parts. We definitely do not bring in our trauma charges. We're non-traumatized and secure thanks to being our own safe haven and secure base. Maria reassures herself. If I have any question about anything, I don't go to anyone. No, because I know what I am and I know who I want to be, and I have consistently brought it forth. Also because when you are upset, it is not the best moment to bring yourself forth, especially when you have half-safe people. People who are not kind, loving, compassionate, discerning, and who know that they are not perfect, and nor is humanity. People who do not know there is no evil or Lucifer out there, that there are people who need therapy. Again, I do personal development, self-help. That's my focus. As for the societal stuff, this is not the first time humanity's gone through societal cultural changes. I am actually completely not amused by the level of ignorance that I see on YouTube, but I am a person who has a political science degree and a master's in international relations and diplomacy. So I know all about the sociology community, the psychology community, and more than just that, which is where my mind was blown away when I read the book, The Societal Construct. I was like, okay, so it's all basically made up by us. Okay, that's good to know. I'm letting you know. Societal construct, it goes through changes. Right now it is. So the only people who don't get it are the same people I don't want to interact with, because they don't remember how the Roman Empire ended. And apparently they don't remember that they didn't see farther than their nose. They also don't remember economics, and smart economists, they inform you about a bunch of shit, like how they do studies where they give people short or long term with money, and the dumb idiots choose short term. I call them dumb because I'm thinking, okay, your adolescent brain, 12 to 25. Now your executive decision making functions, they're by the time you're 25 fully developed. So why you still don't see long term? I'm sorry, the half the brain person. So that's how my brain now can conceptualize stupidity. And yeah, they're cut off from pure consciousness. It's not something called Lucifer. Again, it's a left brain that doesn't use the right, and structural dissociation isn't fancy to see, nor is cognitive dissonance to a brain that loves to learn and thinks long term means future without you knowing anything yet. You have a blank slate. No, there's nothing here. You have all this that's going to help you to see that. But if you already start putting shit in there, no, they don't do that. So they're not open to the infinite possibility. Because the only way you can be open to the infinite possibility is an expert yogi, as Sadhguru would point out, because he talks to you about darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again. That silence. I used to think in a moment of my life that there was something that I had to learn. I realized no, it's Maria does great in silence, because I am not my best friend and I'm not my worst enemy. I am actively an infinite higher human conscious potential person who thinks of all topics in many different ways and has a great time, because that's what pure consciousness does, of a human being brain who has a self that's dynamic, because I'm integrated and I delight in myself and I allow myself to be passionate, because you can't make my coherent heart shut off, because you're not God one, and my mother taught me what to do with rude people as a child, which is why once I got older, she's like, I should have spanked you more, because she's a member of society like others who have mannerisms that I completely, in the trash they go. We're not decent enough to be saluted. When I shared with her the story, the minute I shared it with her, she's like, you didn't tell him you didn't like him, did you? That's rude. That's exactly how she reacted. And I already know my mother, because again, she taught me, if you can't say something nice, say nothing. And I said, no, Mom, no. I didn't. I simply didn't talk to them at all. And then I think of my men friends who tell me, well, you didn't say it right, Maria. You should speak to men correctly so that they will know clearly. And then there's others who, again, women, you could be kinder, you could be more flexible. So I don't know any days. I just know that I thank them for their opinions, and then I just don't bother. I try to wing it, really. What I bother with is when they give me good intel. And that doesn't mean change who you are or second guess yourself. No, it's actually, here, let me give you some tidbits that might be able to support you somehow. I'll always know when it's happening, because it'll expand me, versus put into question how I did it, what I did it, which is really a person who, again, questions themselves. And the other part is they forget that all people have subjective experiences. So the subjective experience is why you can't tell me what another person will do exactly, because you think you know humanity. Your stereotypes, generalizations, and overall assumptions is not something I will take as truth, because you're ignoring that I will be aware that that body has a different experience than yours does. Now, that I can know there's a specific number of projector types, yes, but you still are not in that person's body. And because they are a unique imprint of themselves, I will not take your information and use it in the interaction that I will hold with another human being. I will take information that I know is data and that it's valuable, because there are patterns that work in a certain way. So let me think. For example, being able to evaluate an offer that seems good but has questionable aspects. I'm not a person who's skeptical. I'm a person who will like to trust in humanity. That is not a weak spot, that is a choice, and that is my natural way of being. In the first place, that's where pure consciousness comes in. So I will ask in that moment in time to those who I know are more discerning in a way of a keen eye. And as I do, I will get told things that I don't always like, because they present that which is sad to a heart like mine, but I will nonetheless know exactly who to go to and how many I need, and then I will evaluate and I will come with the conclusion. And as a conclusion is not going to paint the picture of all people then and all offers must be negative, no, but it will be helpful in that instance. So discerning minds know how to differentiate, not generalize, and not do I'm going to assume. Assuming is for the stupid person who forgets that you don't know everything. And you know why they're stupid? Because they close their eyes, becoming blind to that which might be something new. A pattern is learned because you will have learned the pattern. Being open to the infinite is what's going to allow that pattern to become improved. When you do integration of the brain and you open yourself up to using your ventral, and you disengage from patterns that come from safety behaviors of protective modes. And this one is where Jennifer, what's her last name, Sweeten, I think, she is the one who was talking to me in one of my courses about this. This is with NICBM. I have a buttload of courses, by the way, so if you ever would like to know, I just don't remember which ones, all of them, but you can email me. So she's talking to us about how she helped a police officer who was completely, the wife is like, you need to do something. He's retired and he is just off the charts with control and what his stuff is doing. He's doing things that everybody's like, we can't handle you. You need fixing, meaning disengaging from these things that were great for you. You succeeded in your job. Now you're done with the job. And so as he's going to therapy by force, but because he acknowledges, obviously, I'm assuming that it's unnecessary, the way the therapist reassures him is you're not going to lose what you learned. You're just going to disengage from using this, and we're going to learn how to integrate new patterns, new neural pathways, or something like that. And this reminds me of, for example, a personal interaction I had with this person who said no, as I taught them what it meant to get into their E state, get into their prefrontal, and be in that restorative and that ventral. And they're like, no, that feels dangerous. I need to be able to look at and watch my back. And that reminded me of teenagers who actually do that, and other movies that are having people continuously looking at their back in sympathetic, which is completely not necessary. But my point is that body did this. I said, I'm just sharing information. I'm stepping away. If you do want any of those courses that it's taken, let me know. I'll write them down to you, for you. But the point is, I knew that body's language is whatever has happened to this person, they completely do not want to move away from it, which makes sense because they need to do it at their own pace. But that's only if they welcome themselves going to therapy, which this person doesn't want it. And so again, you have a bunch of people who are living in their sympathetic. They have been. They're going to continue to do so. But the 5D collective is not that. We own our sense of self and all our child parts, non-traumatized, secure, because we choose to be our own safe haven, secure base. So we self-regulate in our ventral, and that's why we are self-agents who are autonomously regulating, consistently enlightening, while we're also expanding consciousness. And as we do practice mindfulness and presence, we embody spirituality, because I live a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. And so again, I live a life as a whole, securely attached person, mystic or not, who can think things through and feel emotions and sensations at ease and with ease, not the laundry, thanks to being anchored in my ventral energy, which means my social engagement system, which means my oxytocin gene hormone is on, which is why I'm embodying myself mindfully in a physiological state of compassion. And so the one love hormone is on because of a sense of safety and being Maria, crooked might I be. And that doesn't mean if you don't like me that I don't get sad. If I wanted to be liked, I will be sad. But like the 4-year-old who got rejected, I will not be mad. I will know that I'm too serious or different and and I will be okay with it. I will be using eustress, that's good stress, as I evaluate with the inner growth mindset and mindfulness practices and mindset skills that which will have taken place with unknowns, uncertainties, unexpecteds from life and relationships, because I self-regulate in my social engagement system. So I'm all attachment trauma informed, explaining to you something which is you be you mindfully, flawed with integrity. And like Michael Jordan says, some people, they want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. So we use mindset, mindfulness, and mindset to grow confidence, handle change, and that's with good stress, not bad stress. And that's with having also the capacity to pursue inner stillness, raise your frequency, and ground yourself thanks to this ventral. You can become a paid subscriber if you want to access practical inner growth mindset, mindfulness, and mindset video exercises that you can use to grow this confidence, this well-being, and the good stress. But again, it's a person who's a functional child adult. You will have taken note of your mental health, first of all. And that's something very important. We'll talk a little bit more about these experiences with the ascension energies You'll never know a day of boredom, mediocrity, or discomfort when you integrate your brain, that's for sure. You will never know a day of stagnating energy when you have secure attachment, or fear of losing someone because you're polyamory, or because you're a mystic, or because you're a weirdo, quote unquote. That word doesn't mean anything to those of us who know we're all basically weird, but no, it makes me think of teenagers. And I do know people still use a lot of these words, but I don't, because again, everyone has a unique experience, so it's not weird, it's going to be fun. But we can use words easily again together as we pursue and maintain restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lives, and we lead with our own mind using the higher self. And that means your body non-traumatized, again, with emotions in a state of safety and connection, and capacity to be differentiated. So open-heartedly I connect with you, and I let you be you. I'm going to be me. I get to enlighten, you get to maybe enlighten. And as we embody pure consciousness together, we live the flow state, and we make that pure ventral energy and embodying Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, the restorative embodiment, something somebody else can do if they want. I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together. We explore human evolution and consciousness and self-empowered stories and more. And we will be back, in fact, with some stories in a little bit. So thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. And you can definitely help the channel grow by distributing it. You also find IHP on Spotify and a bunch of other podcast episodes. And fan base is one that I have had also for a bit, so I haven't talked about it as much. And you can definitely also find me on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. I've been in social media as a marketer and a content creator for a while. But again, I don't like to always do all this. You can just put my name in Google. So we'll be back with more again. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.